Good morning, guys.
Hello.
Hey, it's Wanda from Crazy Days, and today is another conversation of friends, and I have Cathy with me, and we're just going to sit and chit-chat a little bit, and she is from Hills Mill Homestead.
Yes.
No, wait, I put an S in there that didn't belong.
Hills Mill Homestead.
Hills Mill.
Yeah.
One meal.
As in sawmill.
Sawmill. Yeah, so we get a lot of meals around here, you know.
Yeah, lots of different
Kinds of meals.
Mm.
So we're going to talk to Cathy a little bit about her life, growing up, what she's doing now, and leave y'all in suspense for the future. So, Cathy, introduce yourself and tell a little bit about your background.
Okay. Well, my name is Cathy, and I came here with Mickey from Hills Mill, Mickey Hill. And I was born and raised in Nashville. I'm actually a Nashville native.
Do you sing?
Of course, I sing and play the guitar. You can't be from Nashville and not
I was going to say
that. I should have brought next time I have to bring my guitar.
Yeah.
I think it's just a natural thing, I guess, when you're raised up in that kind of environment. You just don't think anything about having
country
a guitar
or
and playing.
Gospel or both, or are you pop rock?
No, I don't do pop rock, but I do a lot of Christian music and a lot of country music. You know, so I mean, I can do Sheryl Crow or a lot of different, just a lot of different kind of music. But,
Okay, before you leave, I got to hear a song, a cappella.
okay, we might try that. I don't know, it might break your camera. I didn't say I
don't
was
know about
good
that.
at it. I just said I do play, but in school, that was part of the curriculum. We had music in school, and I was in the
we
band.
did too.
Until high school, I was in the band. But how I came to get more knowledge about agriculture is my grandmother. Now, we lived in Nashville in the city part, but not like downtown. It was more in the suburbs. And my grandmother had a really huge yard, and she had a garden in the back here, in the backyard every year. So I learned about some gardening there. And then when I went to high school, I took the agriculture mechanics class.
Really?
I loved it so much. I mean, I did it throughout the whole high school, and I was in FFA. And so I got a lot of education about hog killing,
That was really fun at the high school prom.
We harvested a cow, and so that's stuff that I would just never have an opportunity to learn. So I don't know if there's still agriculture classes in Nashville. I'm not sure, but if there is, I hope that kids do take that, because it's an education that you can carry with you. I mean, I learned how to weld in agriculture mechanics. I don't remember anything in the calculus class, but those things that you just carry that through your whole life, So
I know I had home ec, and they don't even offer home ec anymore. There's a family planning or family something now. But in home ec, I learned how to sew. Well, my mom had already taught me how to sew, but I did sew. We had to cook. She showed us how to wash dishes and fold laundry, and you learned a whole bunch of skills that you needed in home ec.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they teach that anymore.
And that's a shame, because it's. I think that we do at least need to know how to hem clothes, and we might not make our own clothes, but back then we did make our own clothes. We worked from a pattern, cutting out the fabric.
I made a shirt that I actually wore to school for a year after, because the year I made it, I wore it the next year. I was the only one in my class, I think, that finished. Everybody else took theirs home to finish during the summer and threw it in a closet.
Right.
And
you actually wore yours.
Yes, because my mom was a seamstress, and she sewed for the public when we were real little, and she made clothes for other people.
Yeah.
And so watching my mom all the time, I knew how to pin a pattern, I knew how to cut and things like that. And so when I got in the class and she's telling people how to put a pattern down, I already knew about bias and stuff like that.
Right.
And so I was way ahead of the class, and so I'm over there putting my pattern, and the teacher's going, "Wow, you've done this before."
But you're a leader, though, so that's really good, because you can encourage the other girls that weren't really quite there, or didn't really understand the pattern cutting or the bias edge.
You ought to see some of the kids trying to do stuff.
I know. Well, can you imagine nowadays, though, if you got a girl out of the high school, I mean, it's just an art that really, and the canning stuff, and that's why I'm so glad that you're doing your channel, because you're offering the Bible calls us to teach the younger ladies what to do, and so great that you have a channel that you're teaching people how to can.
Oh.
You know, we're going to get to a time we actually are going to have that.
I have a lot
you know?
of skills that aren't out there all the time. Okay, so high school you're taking
So I took ag mechanics. I was in FFA, had my blue jacket with the gold.
I wore the guys' jackets.
Yeah, me too. So, and you know, went to ag camp, and I just loved it, and that's really where I think my heart of agriculture, because I had a really excellent teacher. I remember his name was Doris Cook, and he was just a unique character. You know, he really cared about what you were learning, and was trying to teach the kids skills that they could carry on. You know, just like you and Danny are doing. But so I was born and raised in Nashville. I moved to Florida. I had family that lived in Florida, so in the summers I would spend at the coast working for my aunt and uncle at the golf course. So so I had a lot of time in South Florida in the Panhandle, and then mostly just lived in Nashville most all of my life, and now I'm a mail carrier with the United States Postal Service, and that's a really hard job. Mail carriers are kind of taken for granted. You know, people don't really realize, and it's kind of a quiet part of business that people don't really, people don't.
They expect their mail, but they don't want you to make no racket.
Like my customers, I have 589. I have 589 of the best customers in the United States. They're awesome. It's just a rural route, and all of these are just country folks. You know, most of my roads are church roads. You know, old country roads, and y'all, if you don't realize, your mail carrier knows more about you than your mom, your dad, your doctor. We do, and we're kind of sworn to secrecy. We can't really talk about any of our customers or say anything to anybody about what's going on with a customer. But
you actually know a lot.
We do know everything about you. We know every bill you're getting and every check you're bouncing and
wherever you item comes from.
Right, when your birthday's coming and when something's just not quite right. So, yeah, we do know a lot about you. But I'm proud to work for the United States Postal Service. So, I mean, I know some of us are really grumpy, and I know some of you have dealt with some really grumpy people. But, I have 589 customers in 60 miles that I serve, and we serve them 7 days a week.
Every
really.
day.
Yeah, because, we have Amazon Sunday in Tennessee. I don't know about here in Mississippi if y'all have Amazon Sunday, but...
UPS or FedEx may bring them on Sundays occasionally.
Yeah.
But not our mail carriers.
Right.
So
we're, in my area, I know some areas Amazon started picking up most of their packages, but in my area we're overloaded with Amazon. So we work really hard, and the peers that I work with, they're awesome people. And I just can't say anything bad about the people that I work with. They're just awesome, and it's a really hard job. It's really stressful. We spend like 2 hours in the morning sorting through the mail, and then I'm on the road 6 to 7 hours a day in my own personal vehicle. So that's another thing that's stressful. You got to keep up your own vehicle. So
yeah. So you have children.
I do.
And did you raise your children? Tennessee, Florida, wherever.
In Tennessee, yeah. We were just a small town just outside of Nashville, in Fairview. I don't know if that matters where, but my girls were raised up just they're sweet girls. We were raised up in a church, and my grandmother took me to church. My mother and father didn't go to church, but my grandmother's the one that took me to church. So I've taken my grandkids to church, trying to instill in them the basics. You really need God as the base of your life. And not everybody sees that. I hope everybody does come to see that, because without God, there's not peace. I don't know what you can do to achieve that. I mean, you might have temporary peace, but to have a deep sense of peace in your heart, you've got to have that biblical.
That's something that, before I met Danny, I was going to college at 50. And
I'm so proud of you for doing that.
I did. I went to college. And one of the girls there, she says, I don't understand it. She said, something about you. She said, it's like you just waltz through life and everything works. And I'm going, she don't see what's going on in the background, the troubled marriage and all this stuff that was going on, the problems with the kids and things like that. But when she saw me at school, she said, "You don't let any of this work get you down." And I said, "It's just work. You know, if I pass it, I pass it. If I fail it, I fail it. I have to dig deeper. I have to hunt." And she's over there spazzing because I just don't get this. I'm messing up. I can't. And I'm like, just calm down and think about it for a minute. Because that's what I would do in my office. Before that, I was an office worker, and things would get me down. I'm like, okay, hold on, wait a minute. And I call one of my girls. I'm like, okay, I don't understand this. And I would get them to kind of walk me through it. Instead of throwing a temper tantrum and screaming and yelling at everybody, which accomplishes nothing. But I've had that peace since I was 23 years old. And living in a marriage that is not the best in the world, because I was married to an alcoholic, it was very tense most of the time.
Yeah.
So you had to have something that kept you from lashing out all the time. And to have that peace.
Yeah.
I don't see how people do it any other way.
I don't either. You know, you just, well, you can look at the world and the condition that the world is in, and you can see that it's
People don't have peace.
Yeah.
They don't have
It's
it.
sad. But I hope there's going to be a revival. You know, I did notice on the news here in Mississippi this morning, churches are gathering together. It doesn't matter the race. You know, they're gathering together and they're coming back to the basics and knowing that we're all brothers. You know, brothers and sisters. And so I'm hoping for a revival in the United States, because we need something. You know, I know everybody keeps saying news media this, news media that. You just don't want to watch the news anymore, you know, because it's so divisive. And until we get away from that, you know, I mean, even social media is just demonic, really. You know, it's really what it is. It's spiritual warfare is what it is.
When I was in school, there was about 1 or 2 years when I was in the 3rd and 4th grade that there was some tension. But after that, I had no tension. I went to a public school.
Yeah, me too.
We all got along, and I have seen some of the girls that I went to school with in the last few years, and we just hug necks and love. I mean, because we were together for 12 years.
Right.
Most of them I saw 12 years, and they were like family.
Yeah.
We didn't think of each other as enemies, and we have to, you stay over here and me stay over there. The only separation I remember is anybody that had some money didn't associate with some of us that didn't have money.
But you know, if you think about it though, it is like Martin Luther King Jr., you know, he wanted all of us to just get along. But there's been divisiveness since the beginning of time.
Oh, yes.
You know, even brother against brother with Cain and Abel. And I mean, you think of the Samaritans in the Bible, and they were bad
All
people. So it's been
biblical
discrimination
times.
all throughout that, you know, when Jesus comes back, things are going to change. So
Yeah, people are going to learn they can sit like you and I and talk.
love and appreciate the differences in people. You know, don't try to push your values on another person. Don't try to make everybody like a cookie cutter. We're all different.
And,
God created us different to make it a beautiful
When
world.
people come here, we just sit down and talk. It doesn't matter who it is, what they think, what they believe, and we have a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all about, just a conversation.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't, if you tried to tell me I had to believe the way a Nashville, Tennessee girl ought to,
Right.
and I'm Mississippi, all through and
Your
through.
whole cellular structure is different from mine. Their DNA is completely different, you know.
I can't sing a lick.
I don't
would not
believe
go.
you.
No. I would not even fit in Nashville because I couldn't sing. I couldn't dance. I mean, I have 2 left feet. Can't dance. You know, the whole country music thing would be totally, because I was all gospel when I grew up.
Yeah.
It was all gospel. Now, my mom and dad listened to country on the radio. And then when I got in high school, it was all Bread and Pablo Cruz and Andy Gibb and the Bee Gees and, you know, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
But then after I got out, raising my kids, it was all church and church music, and listen to country on the side. If I had the radio on, it was usually country because you didn't have that many gospel stations with good music anymore. Now, K-Love is out there now, and that's one of the ones I listen to.
Right.
I don't know if
and there's YouTube music. Have you heard about that yet, or do you have that? So
I mean, I have YouTube music,
it's
but
for a price. I mean, a small price, in my personal opinion, for no advertisement. So it's just music, you know. And so I usually start my day with worship music. I have to start with my prayer time in the morning, because if I have a day without that, I'm usually
messed
just
up.
doesn't start it off right.
dyslexic all day.
So I have my prayer time. I started out with worship, and I've been in the bathroom, that's my prayer closet. And Mickey looked back on there and said, "Who are you talking to in there?" I was, "I'll be in there 30 or 40 minutes praying, And I was like, "I'm talking to Jesus," But, we have to have that prayer time. God wants a relationship with us, just like me and you sitting here talking. That's how we should be talking to our Lord and Savior.
There's not a certain way. This is what I tried to teach my kids in
Jesus knows you
Bible
better than the
school.
mailman does.
Yeah, he does. That's pretty cool. I tried to teach the kids when I was doing VBS and when I was doing teen kids and stuff at the church that prayer isn't about saying words that you repeat after somebody else or saying the words that you've heard over and over and over again. It is simply a conversation with God. Whatever you're thinking, talk to God.
Right.
Tell Him. Say, "Lord, this is what I think." You can be angry, you can be upset, you can be happy, you can be sad, whatever it is, He wants to
him
hear
about it.
He
That's
wants
right.
you to express that because He already knows,
Yeah.
but He wants you to express
That's right.
it. So prayer is not repeat after me.
It's like a good friend.
things.
A good friend knows you're going through something. They want to know what you're going through. Here's somebody asked me. They said, "Well, how can you pray for so much? I mean, I try to think of stuff to pray about, and it lasts 10 seconds, and you're praying for 30 minutes." I'm like, here's a good way. John MacArthur. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's a preacher out of California, and I pray for him a lot because he's been under a lot of attack. Especially since COVID, and they were trying to have church and everything, and they just were having a lot of demonic attack. But anyway, he said this is how you pray. He says you put your hands together and you start with your thumbs, and you pray for the people that are closest to you, maybe your family members or your children or whatever, your mother, and then you do your pointer fingers, and those are people that are teaching you, like you or a teacher at school, the teachers of the world. And then your middle finger is the highest, so you pray for the people that are leaders in leadership, maybe your governor or your president or, the Democrats and the Republicans, all of them. Then your ring finger is the weakest, so you pray for, someone that's sick or someone that comes to mind, because the Holy Spirit will bring people to mind for you to pray for. Maybe some of you haven't even talked to or spoken to in years, and just pray for them because there's a reason why they're on your mind. But anyway, so the ring finger is the weakest, so you're praying for the sick people. And then the pinky is the least, and the least of these is us. So
That's pretty cool.
you can come up with a lot of praying time with your hands folded like that.
And when you think of each part of it individually.
Yeah, it makes you think of people that you wouldn't normally think of, like the pointers, the teachers. I mean, your kids' teachers, that they're under a lot of struggle, and
they're quitting going and coming because they're
the
not allowed to
kids.
teach
I know,
anymore.
it's
They're
terrible.
they're giving them a specific you got to do, and the kids are not disciplined at home, so they expect the teachers, and it's not the teacher's job to teach your child how to be a good child. You should be teaching your child before they get to the teacher.
They expect it. Yeah, they think that when they turn 6, they'll get an education, but that starts long before then, doesn't it?
It starts when they're born.
Yeah, all this time the schools, part of my route, I have 3 schools on my route, and all this time I've noticed over the door it had "In God We Trust," and I always love to see that, because they've taken God out of the schools. Yeah.
Yes.
But this year the sign was taken down, so I'm really sad about that. But that's the world we live in now, and honestly, the church is falling down on its job.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the problem is the church because they're not doing what they're called to do. But we need a revival.
No, a revival. That's
a revival.
It. So you met Mickey this year.
Yeah, well, I have been his mail carrier for a couple of years. Actually,
Oh, she knows everything about Mickey already before she met
I
him.
checked him out. But he was always just the sweetest thing, and so we did start going out this year, and we've had a really good time.
Been to Deepsouth a couple of times.
We have visited down here a couple of times, and just had the best hostess and host. Oh my gosh!
What did you eat last night?
Let's see. I have to start with the salad because it was just.
We had fun with the salad.
Oh
didn't
my gosh! Well, when you get to go and pick your own food just before getting to eat it, there's something really special about that, you know. So I really enjoyed the time that we had together and the fellowship we had in your high tunnel, picking the food, the salad
All the
leafy
different
vegetables
greens.
and stuff for those salad. And it was absolutely beautiful. And then you had that special vinaigrette that you had come from your grapes.
It was from the Scuppernongs.
I can never
She
pronounce
can't say that.
It must be a Nashville thing and a Mississippi thing. But Scuppernongs, is that how it is?
Scuppernongs, N-O-N-G.
Scuppernongs.
Yeah.
I'm gonna practice that. I'm gonna be
Well,
really good.
I
about
say
it next time we-
Scuppernong most of the time, but I say Scuppernong. I can't even say it the other way. But there's a different way. Sometimes I say it real fast.
Right.
And people get on to me because I don't put the N-O-N-G on the end. But it's a Mississippi thing.
Yeah.
We leave a lot of the endings off of stuff.
You say
And-
tomato, I say tomato.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, our words run together, and I thought we had a Southern accent till I hear people from Tennessee and Arkansas.
we
and
just
stuff.
love y'all's accent. I went to California one time, and actually I was on the Family Feud, but
Were you?
went to California. And
Did you win?
We did win a West Bend cooker and a year supply of Kenny shoes. We didn't get the grand prize. But anyway, so I had called back then. You used the operator to call, back home. And so I called home to talk to my mother. And the operator that was on the phone, she says, "Can I just keep you on the phone for a minute? I just love the way you talk." And I had never even been out of Tennessee before at the time, other than down south, So I didn't even realize we had such a different dialect, But I was thinking your viewers are from all over the world, Canada, and just all
The
different
UK,
places.
Africa,
Can you imagine? They
Australia.
probably have to replay what we say sometimes to try to figure out what did they just say.
I have to do that sometimes with the Australians. I have friends over in Australia that have channels, and they'll say something, and I hear the words, but I don't get the meaning. So I have to play it back because they use different words for some of the things we use.
Right.
And so in order to catch what they're taking.
Here's one, torch. We call it a flashlight, but in some countries they call it a torch. We call a torch something with a big fire on the end of it,
So in our defense, we talk really weird because I listen to us sometimes when I'm editing and just really paying attention. And if you listen to people from different countries, different dialects all the time, it is really difficult. So this is what Danny and I were talking about with the Bible. We have the King James Version. We have different versions, but when you go to different countries, they have their version,
Right.
and they have to read their version because their
Right.
words are different from ours. What I might
Exactly.
call a sink,
Yeah.
they may call it something else.
Right. Which really, like Danny said, you really need to be well versed in the Hebrew because that goes back to the roots of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But I think overall, if you look at the various versions, New King James Version, you got all that.
ESV.
Here to, and therefore. and all that.
Everybody's, yeah.
But and then you have the NSV, the American Standard Version too, and then there's one that's very loosely. I'm trying to think of it.
The Living Bible.
Yeah. I think BibleGateway.com.
Oh, I love that.
Don't you? Because you can see all the different
Mm-hmm.
versions of one single verse.
And you can see the actual
And it's
Hebrew
all the
or
basic
Aramaic.
same meaning. You can see that there's not
Greek.
a lot of difference in the base or the root meaning of the Bible.
I do
verse.
that because sometimes our words, like I said, if I may call it a sink, a kitchen sink,
Right.
but somebody else calls it something else. In the Bible, one of our preachers talked about that one time, and he took a verse and he read it, and he said that word right there. He said, "Now, what do you think of if I didn't put it in that verse when you say it?" And he said, lots of people read that verse and think that's what it means because we're using an American mind.
Mm.
And so
And
you
they're
take
only
the-
picking out the verse and not the full
Yeah.
picture of the
And when you go back and
whole
see what
chapter.
that word meant in the Greek, the Hebrew, or the Aramaic, it didn't mean what our American people think it means.
Yeah.
And so that opened a whole new avenue 20 years ago for me to start studying and pulling up Bible Gateway or Bible Hub. There's one called Bible Hub too. And you can lay out the Greek and the Aramaic and the Hebrew, and you can add all the versions. If you want to know any version, you can add it to it or take it out. It lets you pick and choose and put them together side by side
Yeah.
and see. And I compare.
Yeah.
Because if
And
you
you
go back to
should.
the Greek,
Yeah.
half the words that's in our King James is not in the Greek.
Right. Right.
because they had to make a sentence
Exactly.
and they had to put it together.
Yeah, and you know, you brought up a really good point. You double check what the word says, and you have to do that even if you're going to church somewhere or you're
Yes.
watching a televangelist on TV. You better bring your Bible out and make sure that's what the Bible does say, because there's so many false teachers out, and the Bible warned us that there would be false prophets coming, you know, and false teachers. So if you're not breaking that Bible open and seeing is that exactly what the word says, I better double check that.
Okay.
Well, you've been such a great hostess. I just love you. You're just,
Thank you.
You and Danny are salt of the earth, and you're such a blessing to us. Mickey and I watch you guys, and
We
it's
just had
like
a
we
good
maintain
time.
a friendship from a long distance.
Yeah,
you know, and
we just kind of
text back and
message.
forth, but-
I've got to figure out on Facebook or on Freesteading or something how to message you, because I can't send her any pictures on the phone.
Yeah.
It won't let me for some reason. We don't have
So
a phone.
y'all have an opposite problem that we have at the house. The internet doesn't work there, but our phones sometimes work. Depends on where we are on the property, but
yeah.
it's frustrating.
So guys, I know y'all might have missed some stuff because we don't know when the camera cut off. We were having a good
We
fellowship.
talked. It's like 2 hours later, and we're
Yeah,
still talking.
We told them we were going to do a quick conversation, and it didn't happen, and that's usually not going to happen between us.
No.
So, guys, Hills Mill,
Hills
Cathy
Mill
and
Homestead.
Mickey,
Yep.
stay tuned for the future because, where is it? The ring? We're trying to talk them into a wedding here at Deepsouth in the barn, but I know that might not happen. I figured you would just run to the Justice of the Peace and go,
Who knows? Who knows what we're going to do? We don't know.
So, y'all been gardening. You had a good
Oh yeah, we have.
Good
You know,
garden
Mickey's
this
got
year.
the electroculture down pat. He is so successful in that. You know,
It's amazing.
well, you know, even when I was delivering mail before we started dating, he was just a good friend because he would talk garden stuff. You know, and at my house, I had high level, waist level
Raised beds.
raised beds, which is good because of my back, you know, and I was like, I admired he had tomatoes this big, fully loaded, and I was like, how does he do that? I mean, I've got just this little bitty space, and I had 6 or 8 of them, and I water them every day, and mine don't look that good, you know, I don't understand why. But he has the electroculture down pat.
It is amazing.
He knows, I mean, I was literally amazed by it. And very little water usage, you know, and he just knows what he's doing. So I'm proud to be able to garden with him because I've learned so much from him this year, and I've enjoyed it.
Plus, you learned a lot about sawmills.
Yeah, got the sawmill going, and you know, he stays busy. He's like the bunny, you know. You see bouncing around, running around.
He does.
He is a hard-working guy, and I'm so proud of him. He's a real blessing to me.
And so, in the future, Cathy and Mickey, Hills Mill Homestead, you guys keep checking them out, see where they're going, what they're doing, and what may be happening in the future. We're just going to see if there's a wedding sometime, and some more gardening,
Oh yeah.
and some more sawmilling.
Yeah, we got to get better at video, and we just stay busy. We stay so busy, but we're going to get better at it. You're
Yeah.
inspiring us.
So, guys, thank you for stopping by. Check out Cathy over at Hills Mills, and we'll talk to y'all later.
Have a great day.
We're going to get a cup of coffee.
Yes, let's do it.
All right, Mickey and Cathy is here. Cathy's manning the video.
Camera
Hey,
girl.
Cathy. We're going to get her on video in a little while. But
So what are you doing?
we have romaine lettuce. It is beautiful.
Yes.
We're going to add a colored leaf into it. Then, look at these pretty cabbages. Danny don't know it, but we're fixing to sneak a cabbage leaf.
We won't tell. Oh my goodness. Gorgeous. That's huge.
We're going to add that. Okay.
What you got there, girl?
These are green onions. These are the old-fashioned multiplying onions. And we're just going to get a handful of these and add. And I didn't tell Cathy, but guess what I have?
What you
I
got?
have some ham. It's a ham cheese ball that has green onions, hams, and cream cheese. Oh, it's so good.
So this is rainbow chard.
Yes, right here. You see how pretty?
It's beautiful.
You can eat the stems and all. That gives it some red color. And then there's usually this one. See, it's a white looking color.
That's going to make a beautiful salad.
This one's kind of an orangey looking color.
Absolutely.
What you think?
Looking good. Now, is that nasturtium or?
This
Yeah.
is rose moss. The roses are
Beautiful.
edible. The leaves are edible. Most anything I put in here you can eat.
That is so elegant, girl.
So that goes in there.
Pretty.
What? Pineapple sage. What you think?
Beautiful. That is so pretty.
We're gonna pick some of these. Mickey ain't gonna know what to think of all our pretty creations.
He's not gonna, I can guarantee you he's never eaten a salad with flowers in it.
You think he hasn't eaten a salad with flowers?
I
Girl,
don't
you
think
slacking.
so. Oh my goodness.
Isn't that
They've
gorgeous?
grown so much. Oh my goodness. I can't get over it.
We're gonna be picking those before long.
These were not
That's
on
the
here when I was
oranges.
here before.
Here, these are the key limes. Look, that one's ready.
Look at that.
Okay, it really ain't going in the salad, but those are ready. They'll
Well,
just...
you could just juice it over the salad.
Oh, we can add it to the vinaigrette.
There you go.
Yes, we can. I don't know. The vinaigrette's kind of sweet. Do we want to touch a tang with it? Okay, see, these we're getting ready. These aren't quite there. They're still kind of green, but you see how they're turning good. These are oranges,
Wow.
and these are satsumas. And they're half the size, almost a quarter the size.
Girl, you got a green thumb.
I think it's Danny.
Well, I'm giving you the credit.
All right, we need garlic chives. So these are right outside the door. What do you think?
Beautiful.
That's different.
All right, Mickey, what you think? You eating flowers?
I like flowers.
Not pretty?
Now that's one of the prettiest little salads. If it tastes as good as it looks, boy, we got it made.
Yeah. All right, Cathy, what you doing?
Oh, cleaning up after the best delicious dinner we've had in years.
So what'd you think?
Oh my gosh, it was so good. My favorite's the salad. I cannot believe how great that turned out. All the different flavors melded together, but the dressing was like nothing I've ever had. For one thing, I had that grape juice in it.
Scuppernong.
I can't pronounce it.
Scuppernong.
Scuppernong. And it was just so well balanced. It was delicious.
Well, we were talking about how beautiful it is here at Deepsouth Homestead. And if there was any local areas that were really close by that had some farms for sale, that's what we were to spread the news.
We can find them somewhere to buy, huh?
Well, there was a house next door to us over here, but I don't know if it's sold or not.
It's pending.
It's pending.
Yeah, it's pending. That's always a bad sign.
Yeah. I don't
How you
know
like
if
that
they
table?
do, but
That table looks really good in this video, I'm telling you.
That is a beautiful
It's a
poplar
beautiful
table.
poplar table.
Sure is.
Not only that, we have a whole bunch of new wood for new projects coming up that I think is going to be highly interesting.
I think people gonna like Mr. Mickey's wood.
Oh, I know they're gonna